In 1975, just a mere 3 years after Bewitched completed its successful 8-season run, the ABC television network approached Columbia Pictures Television, who approached producer William Asher, about a pilot for a new series about Samantha's now grown-up daughter Tabitha, in an attempt to rekindle the magic. Broadcast on the network on April 24, 1976, Tabitha, reflecting the original spelling of the character's name, focused on a now 20-something Tabitha Stephens working as an editorial assistant at fictional Trend magazine in San Francisco. Attempting to live the mortal life like her mother, Tabitha, played by brunette Liberty Williams, struggles with pressure from her warlock brother Adam, played by Bruce Kimmel, to embrace her witchly heritage, and how to break the news to her mortal boyfriend Cliff, portrayed by Archie Hahn. Written by Ed Jurist, this pilot was nothing more than a remake of the Bewitched pilot, along with gags taken from other Bewitched episodes, and ultimately not picked up as a series by ABC. However, not giving up on the idea, Bewitched writer Jerry Mayer was approached by executives at Columbia Pictures Television to write another pilot, which would be broadcast the following year on May 7, 1977. This time, Tabitha, spelled with an I, after receiving a respectable Nielsen rating and better reviews, the series was picked up by ABC to premiere in the fall of 1977.
They called me, I can't even remember the guy, and said, would you like to do a pilot about Tabitha? And I said, absolutely. And the way in was I wrote a spec script for Bewitched. And in those days, actually a guy from St. Louis said, I know the producer. And I can't even remember his name now, but if you want to write a spec script. So I wrote a spec script and Bill Asher bought it. They took spec scripts and paid him, it was like $1,000 or $1,500 for the script in those days. And I wrote it with a friend of mine named Paul Friedman. And it was fun. We used to go, we wrote 2 or 3 together, and I think I wrote around 6 of them total, Bewitched. And Bill Asher would have us come to his Beverly Hills mansion. And I remember we would see Elizabeth come down the stairs and all that. And so it gave me great pleasure when I hired Bill Asher to direct 2 Tabithas.
The title role went to 20-year-old blonde Lisa Hartman, though not the first choice for the role. Producers wanted to cast another brunette, actress Pam Dauber, but ultimately went with Lisa, who more closely resembled Elizabeth Montgomery and adopted similar mannerisms. Lisa, hailing from Houston, Texas, had signed a record deal with Kirshner Records, which brought her to Los Angeles, and had appeared on an episode of Policewoman and in the TV movie Murder at the World Series. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times in 1977, she stated, I came out here to make records and tour. I never really thought about doing a series. And in referring to Tabitha coming down to herself and Pam Dauber, she stated, she got the hit and I got the stiff. Also in the cast, fresh off a stint on All in the Family, was veteran actor Mel Stewart as KXLA producer Marvin Decker. And Robert Urich as Tabitha's boss and TV host Paul Thurston.
Robert Urich died way too young. God, what a great guy he was.
Well,
we loved him. And I read about him, and he was a football star. And worked so much. He had some big shows that he was a regular in. Anyway, we all miss him. What a easy guy to work with.
And his wife died kind of recently too.
Yeah.
I read that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Bob also was a singer, and his brother and I did some concerts, as you say, together, and so I got to know him through his brother and his sister-in-law, and they were just well folks. from, would you say they're from the Midwest? Where did you say they were from? They went to college. He went to college somewhere.
Yeah, I forgot. He is from the Midwest. I read about where he was from.
He was a good friend. He was good. I mean, he was a good friend to have on the set. He just was full of life. We would go out afterwards.
Yeah.
Or I'd go over to his house and we'd sit and we'd chat. I remember when I bought my house, first home I ever bought, and the last. He was sitting in his house with his arm up on the back of a couch, looking out into his backyard. And I said, "Oh, Bob, I got a home. Oh, my God, I bought a home." And he just said, "Look out there." He says, "As we're speaking, things are destroying my house." He said, "Every day you will have something that will destroy your house. So don't get so excited about it."
Yep.
Fire or termites?
All of it. Termites, things would break down, the roof would leak. He was enumerating all those things. Bob.
David Ankrum was cast in the role of Tabitha's brother Adam, who in this series was mortal like his father, and discouraged Tabitha from using her witchcraft, much to the chagrin of overbearing Aunt Minerva.
Well, I remember I was doing some improv theater, I think at the Hollywood Canteen, maybe. We had a little group, Hervé Villachez and Betty Thomas and an actor named David Ankrum. We were 3.5. It was a little improv show. And I think somebody had mentioned to me that they were casting this show and maybe you might be right for this Adam part. You might try to get your agent to, but I got an interview. I think I read for Sally Powers maybe, or Al Honorado. I went up the chain, and finally tested at ABC. Trying to remember that test. It almost felt like I was on a stage or something. And there was, I was lucky. It was the first series I'd only done, I was doing more guest star work and a lot of theater. I was part of that theater arts program of Los Angeles. It was a federally funded program, 1975 to 79. We toured parks and prisons and did also, clown shows, improv. It was one of those jobs where you could go off and do your work, come back and do a show in the park, and that was great. It was great fun. I think that's, you hear about an interview, you hear about a role. It was the actors were kind of networking back then and helped each other out. So, yeah, here's a role you might be right for. So
cool. Karen Morrow rounds out the cast as Aunt Minerva, who constantly tries to get Tabitha to kick up her heels and use her powers to their full advantage.
Can you remember the name of the director when we had to do a rain scene on top of the TV studio? Because Tabitha was asked to become the weather girl. She was asked to be so everything had to be perfect. So she asked me to go up there and fool around with the weather. And so I don't remember the director. I had to go to another set. And he was watching the monitor, and I was supposed to go up there and cue the rain, and it was going to come like right down next to me or something like that. So when I got up there, he said, "No, go to the right." And I said, "Your right or my right? Go to the right. Go to the right." Okay. So I went, and of course, I got in the downpour and everything. But we had to stop the show. So I could go get dried off. They had to dry my clothes. I had to get in makeup again and hair and all that stuff. He was a funny guy. He was a real funny, kind of erratic guy. I always thought of him as like, one of those people.
Added to the cast was Penelope Willis as Tabitha's childhood friend, Nancy Kravitz, allowing the opportunity for guest stars Sandra Gould and George Tobias to reprise their bewitched roles as Nancy's Aunt Gladys and Uncle Abner. Another Bewitched alumni included Bernard Fox in his role as Dr. Bombay, and many familiar faces such as Dick Wilson, Cliff Norton, who also served as the announcer in the opening credits, Fritz Feld, Hollis Irving, Billy Hayes, Mary Grace Canfield, and John Fiedler. Mary Wicks appeared as Cassandra, head of the Witches' Council, as well as Fred Willard, Tracy Reed, Werner Klemperer, Dak Rambo, Rod McCary, Barry Van Dyke, and Richard Libertini. But due to preemptions, poor publicity by ABC, and a general change in the type of programming that viewers were drawn to in the late 70s, Tabitha failed to catch on, and ABC pulled the plug after 12 episodes, with the final first-run episode airing on Saturday, January 14th, 1978. 9 episodes were rebroadcast during July and August of 1978, after which Tabitha disappeared from the airways, occasionally showing up on cable networks like TV Land. The series is currently running in remastered 4K on the CTV network in Canada.